Hey, welcome to Facebook Land. Thank you, everybody, for joining, ladies and gentlemen. We got a special guest today on our Visionaries podcast. Good friend of mine, mentor. He's a family man. He's a businessman, and super successful man. He's a mentor to the mentors. The Godfather of Experior. We got Mr. Mauro Arturi.
Hey, buddy. What's up, Tyrone? Good to see
What's
you,
up?
man.
Good to see you too, man.
Hello, Facebook Nation, whoever's on. Welcome.
I'm super excited for this one today, man. We had a good chat just before we got started, and I've known you for going on what 6 years now since I joined
Wow.
Experior. Been
Wow.
about 6 years. I remember the first event that we had was at what was that? It was at a restaurant. We did like an FML Christmas party, and you told everybody you thought I was your nephew.
Oh my God, that's right. Yeah, you do look a lot like my nephew, to be
Yeah,
honest with you. Yeah, you do. I remember that. It was at a small little Italian restaurant. There was probably, oh, geez, there wasn't that many people there, right?
no,
No. It's amazing how time has changed, how time, first of all, how fast it goes and how much has happened in that time period, right? Like you had just gotten married at the time? I can't remember.
no. We just had our youngest son. Our
Right,
youngest son
right,
was
right.
born. Yeah,
Right. Since then you bought your own house, you became a six-figure earner. You're like, yeah, you're just killing it too. So yeah, time has been good to both of us, I think.
yeah, definitely. I think when I joined, I think FML had maybe like 400 agents,
Who
somewhere
did?
in that range.
Me?
FML, the hierarchy, FML hierarchy.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
It was
Probably around three, four
basically,
hundred. Now we're at 24, just over 2,400.
look at that. Look at
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. That's surreal, my friend. Never would have thought that would happen. And it just keeps growing right now. It's the company is on fire. Our leadership is incredible, starting from the top with Jamie and Leanne and all the new guys we're bringing on board and other leaders. Like, yeah, there's no stopping us, man. We're ready to rock and roll. We're just
Look at,
scratching the scratch, as they say.
just like just like that. Just like
Yeah.
that. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Like before financial services, who is Mauro Arturi? Tell me about your background and how you got into like what were you doing before financial services? Well, tell me about yourself.
Well, I was a musician, played in a band before I got into financial services. Worked in a paint store.
Okay.
Worked there for about 8 years with a friend of mine whose father owned it. I was there, I worked long hours, man, 11 hours a day, 6 days a week.
Wow.
I loved it. It was fun. But, prior to that, I worked in a factory. I worked in construction. I worked as a busboy, a waiter. I've been working since I was 12 years old, right? We grew up in what you call Ontario housing, which is like the
Yep.
government housing.
Yep.
So didn't have a lot of opportunity, but we all kind of pitched in together, me and my siblings, and we kind of got out of there and moved on. But I've always worked, but never thought about opportunities, right? Because when
Okay.
you surround yourself with people who are just working too, unfortunately, you're not exposed to, hey, what are the other possibilities out there? And back when I was growing up, there was no internet, there was no audiobooks, there was nothing really, right? So you guys are all fortunate, you younger generation, because you have the world at the tip of your fingers, really.
Yep.
So, but yeah, that was it. And then I got into, I was invited to a meeting to hear about financial services.
Okay.
And I had no business sitting there, absolutely no business being in that meeting because I was horrible at math. I failed math every single year in high school. I always say thank God we were on a semester system because I'd fail the first semester and take it the second semester and pass. Um, but someone said to me that it was a great opportunity. This was
Okay.
back in the 90s before you were born. And
Oh, I was bored. I was young though.
you're young. It was
I,
back in the 90s, and someone said it's a good, there's money in money. And if you're willing to work, which I was always willing to work, we can show you what to do to take your business to a different level. And I was able to attain a six-figure income with that company. But life really changed when we changed and came over to Experior back in 2016. That's
okay.
when things changed. Yeah, that's a
Amazing.
little bit about me.
Yeah. So no, that's awesome. And I knew about the music career. I remember you telling me, but I got a taste of it when we went to Mexico and we had the karaoke and I got to hear you sing. I was like, wow, okay. Mauro could break it down.
Yeah, that wasn't my best day, but yeah, it's fun, man. It's fun. Picture me, Tyrone, walking into a financial services meeting with hair down to here,
Okay.
and an earring, cowboy boots, jeans, and a leather jacket. Because that was my first meeting. And I was going to a meeting for financial services, right?
And this was to think about joining the business, or was this for
This
them
is
to?
when I was just thinking about joining the business, right? So, and then once I got the bug, obviously you have to show that you're changing, right? So I cut my hair, got rid of the earring, asked my brother-in-law who was in real estate for any used suits that he has that he doesn't use anymore, and I wore his suits every day. Um, and so I looked professional, but I didn't have any idea what the hell I was doing. But I was willing to change, right? I was willing to change.
That's good. You know what? It's everybody has that opportunity to change, man. And it just shows like you coming from the background you were in, you could have went that direction because I heard your singing voice. You could have
Oh,
made millions,
well,
millions doing
thanks,
that.
buddy.
So
Appreciate. I don't think
uh,
I'm that good, but yeah, it was fun. It was fun. Let's
you were
just.
good, man. You're good. So what was it about financial services then that got you interested into this industry? Because obviously I know you started off and you did your thing, but you made it quite a success for yourself there. What is it
Yeah,
about services?
I think financial services. When I was introduced to it, it was more of showing me how the average person out there was being taken advantage of, and I was one of them because I owned the wrong product at the time. And again, there was really no opportunity for me at that time. No one came up to me and said, "Hey, we're going to show you how to make a six-figure income and build your own business." No one was offering me that opportunity. So I said, well, if someone's offering it to me, I might as well try it. What's the
Yeah,
worst case scenario? I can go work where I was working before or get a job anywhere, right? So it's not like I had a PhD and I was a lawyer and then I had to, quit that to do financial services. It was like, oh, just give it a shot. But I did give it a shot because I saw the value in how it helped people,
yeah,
right? Because there's a lot of ways, Tyrone, to make money out there. But there's a lot of ways to make money and hurt people, but there's a lot of ways to make money and help people. And I'm from the school of helping people. So if I can make money by helping others, it's a win-win, right? For me. So
that's a good point.
yeah, that's so I just saw the fact that we were able to educate families and teaching them what type of investments they needed, what type of insurance they needed. And for someone like myself who only graduated from high school, I didn't have any other post-secondary education. I wasn't good at math or anything like that. And for it to be broken down to the point where I could teach it to others, I'm like, it's not really that difficult, right?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like, so it's the challenge in the financial world was how it was being delivered to the consumer. Because if a guy like me who knew nothing about anything could learn it so quickly and teach it and
yeah,
replicate it and help families get into the right products, and then as time goes on, obviously you get better and you grow and you learn and you take courses and all that kind of stuff. But I realized that wow, what an opportunity for someone who doesn't know anything to know a little but still help, and then eventually show others how to do that. And that's how we grew so fast. And I think a lot of people when it comes to picking a career, they're worried about, do I know enough? Do I have enough? Am I smart enough? Do all that
yeah,
kind of stuff. And it's like, you don't know unless you try, man. Like,
yeah,
unless you try something, you're never gonna know. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna go work on a car
yeah.
engine or an airplane engine without any training or anything like that. But this isn't
Exactly.
rocket science. Financial services is not rocket science. You
Yeah,
can help most people with the basic knowledge, and then you can increase your knowledge because you're in the industry, you're in that arena, and then you become very professional and do the things that other people can't. So yeah, so that's why I love financial services, but I love
that's
our business model more than anything.
yeah. And you know what? That's huge. Now, a lot of people come into this business and they come in for the wrong reasons. They just want to make money as quick as they can. It doesn't work out for them. Like you've been in the industry now, what? Almost 30 years, right? What, 28, 29?
20, I think it's 27 years, man.
27 years.
Yeah,
Look
so
at
I started as soon as I got out of elementary school, grade eight.
that. So
So I,
that's what happened when you were 12. Started right
yeah,
into financial services.
right into financial services. But yeah, it's been 27 years. Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was the key to your longevity? Just keeping that longevity, because obviously I know you. I've been in this industry that not as long as that, but I've had ups and downs. So I know you've experienced it. I've heard some of your stories.
Yeah.
Tell me about those.
Well, there's a lot of things, Tyrone. I guess, one of the main things was I never gave up because most people give up too soon.
Yeah.
And that's in anything in life. It could be in sports, it could be in anything, right? You're just around the corner from something really big happening as long as you're putting the work in. So I never gave up. Did I feel down? Was I broke at times? Absolutely, 100%. It wasn't a cakewalk. It wasn't a, straight up line to success. But I learned a lot during my failures and during the downtimes, 100%. And so I think if you keep learning and moving forward, you can't fail in anything in life, never mind just financial services. But for me to be successful in our business, it was I never thought about how it affected me. Like
Mm.
if I sat down with a client, I wasn't thinking about the commission. I was thinking
Yeah.
about the client.
That's a,
And I
that's,
think it came across that way when I spoke.
yeah.
Um, so selling was really easy to me. And then on the recruiting side of things, I didn't recruit people to use them as a tool to get to me to where I was. I may have at the beginning, but I wouldn't lie to them. I wouldn't give them half truths. I would always want to be as honest as possible because that's just the way you got to live life, right? So to me, I think honesty, integrity, and helping others before you help yourself, you'll gain all kinds of success. Not it doesn't and success doesn't have to be financially. It doesn't
Hmm.
have to be money. It's, success is something different to everybody.
Wow.
I'm fortunate that we're in the financial services business and it helped financially. But even if we didn't make as much money as we do, or have the success we have, I still feel good at night putting my head on the pillow knowing I've impacted people in a positive way, whether that be a client or a recruiter, or an agent or something like that, right? So, yeah,
That's,
that keeps you in the business, right? If you're always
that's,
thinking about money, or you're always thinking of what you don't have or what you do want, then because guess what, Tyrone, there's someone who has more than me. And then when I get to that guy's level, there's someone who wants more than someone who has more than that level, and there's someone who has that more than that level. So you're always chasing and chasing and chasing,
yeah.
and the more you chase, the less you feel good about where you're at. So there's no point in doing that, man. It's not a race; it's a marathon. And as long as you stay good to true to yourself and to the people around you, then I believe you can be successful in anything.
Yeah, and I mean, you're hitting a lot of key points there. And obviously, a lot of people come into this. I know for myself, I wanted to have a better work-life balance. How have you been able to handle that in the starting stages? Obviously, I know how you handling it now is different, but like when you started off, how was that for you? Creating that work-life balance.
But when I started off, I didn't have kids or anything,
Okay.
so I did have responsibilities and I was married, but I worked 6, 7 days a week until
Okay.
11 o'clock at night every night, every morning, and then we were at the office or we were prospecting or we were, knocking on doors, whatever it was, and we would do that literally 6 to 7 days a week. Now,
Really?
there were times that we would hide and take some, being depressed or sad or dejected, so you take a couple of days off, but most
Yeah.
of the time we were working hard and not getting the results you want. But that's when you build the thick skin. That's
Mm.
when you learn the most, especially with your teammates, right? Or what we like to call your foxhole buddies.
Yeah.
When you're in those times with like my partner Frank and Laval, uh, you know, we learn a lot about each other, but we help each other, push each other up, and it's a
Build.
different
Yeah.
animal
You build
altogether.
that resilience.
Yeah, 100%, right? And you need that. You need that in anything in life, but especially in our business because we always go for the no, right? The more no's you get, the more yeses you'll get.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you don't like getting someone to say no to you, then you got to get used to it pretty quick.
Absolutely. 100%. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned that earlier on, and man, I'm still learning it to this day. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
so true,
Yeah, yeah.
so
And,
true.
and you don't take it personal, right? Like, hey, listen, I'm telling you, I used to take everything personal. Like, I'm an R-type personality. So, geez, when someone said no to me, it cut deep. When a friend said I was, it sounds like a pyramid, or this or that. Or what do you know about, like that really cut deep. But then I realized it's not about them, it's about me. So
Yeah,
as long as I believed in what I was doing was right, then I just kept doing it. And now those things don't bother me. I don't care what anyone says anymore. That's their
that's a
opinion.
huge
They're allowed to have it, and God bless you, move forward.
that's a huge point because people don't realize like once you have a belief and a passion for this, it doesn't matter what anybody says.
Yeah,
You know it's the right thing. So that's huge. I
yeah,
love
yeah,
that.
for sure, for sure.
Now, I was talking to Frank a couple weeks ago, and he was saying that and he was telling me about the transition from your practice company to Experior Financial Group.
Yeah.
And he was telling me about the day that he had the meeting with Jamie, and that he said that call that after you guys met up. Tell me about that. Tell me about that transition and the beginning stages of how this whole conversation came about to you joining Experior.
Well, we had no intentions of leaving where we were. Frank and I have been working together for over 20 years, and we were in our previous company. We were also foxhole buddies and partners there. But we Frank went to go meet with Jamie to prove that Jamie was wrong and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
And I was like, don't go see him, right? Because he was the devil. Don't go see the devil. He's gonna, right? Again, not knowing, being ignorant and not knowing what else is out there and being closed-minded. But Frank went there and met with him for hours. I think it was 3 hours, and then he called me. He says, "We got to meet," and that was like, "Oh no, here we go."
yeah,
Right? Because again, when I believed I was in the right place in the right company and all that stuff, and nothing was going to shake me from that.
yeah,
Then, but then my best friend and business partner opened my eyes to what Jamie was saying, and I couldn't ignore it anymore because then now the reality kicks in, right? Now, okay, truth versus fiction, reality versus, fiction, and I'm just like, wow, I can't ignore it anymore. So we kept meeting with Jamie and we decided we were going to move, but then we got scared and we stayed back for a bit. But the whole time that we were waiting, or not waiting, actually, we were saying, no, we're not going to do it anymore. We lost our passion. Frank and I lost our passion with the other company because we didn't believe, we weren't passionate about it because we didn't believe in it anymore. So it was almost stupid for us to stay there.
oh wow, that's
And
interesting.
the other company didn't do anything wrong. And I'll
Yeah,
be the first one to never bash another company. Like I learned so much valuable stuff from that other company. I learned how to sell. I learned how to get a thick skin. I learned a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff. But it wasn't what I thought it was going to give me, right? And then we moved over to with Jamie. We got sued for it, which was scary as hell because again, I'm a pretty low key guy. I don't go looking for trouble, and trouble doesn't come in looking for me. So when I got a knock on the door and served with
wow.
papers to go to court, it actually scared the living bejeebies out of me. So
How did you guys do? How did you guys come out of that? Like, what did you
well, it
think?
was tough. We were going up against the largest financial service company on the planet, and we were just four dummies. And when I say four, well, four, I won't include Leanne as a dummy. So I'll just say me, Jamie, Frank, and Lavelle. So I
Yeah,
can call Jamie a dummy. He doesn't mind. You had the largest company in the world going up against us, four guys, thinking that they were going to destroy us because it was David and Goliath, basically,
yeah.
right? We'd go down to their offices downtown Toronto, $1,000 an hour for lawyers, and
Oh,
they had like at one point there was one. I would say it was probably about seven lawyers on their side, flown in from other country from the U.S. and everything. And then there's me, Frank, Jamie, and Laval, and our two lawyers who were kind of young. They were probably in their 20s or early 30s, right?
oh God.
Um, and it was scary, but you know what? I believed we were doing the right thing, so I didn't back down. None of us backed down. We were going to fight. We fought a good fight,
Yeah,
but we realized that obviously being a billion-dollar company, they can destroy us financially on a personal level, not the company, but on a personal level. So we just said, nah, we won't talk to any of your people for the next few years, and we made an agreement with them, which was the best thing that ever happened to us because we
yeah,
had to start from scratch, right? And we started from scratch, just like Jamie did, and from going from having 40 agents to 2,400 agents
Ooh,
in 9 years. I don't even think about those days. I think again, those days were experiences, they were lessons, and I learned a lot about people, Tyrone. Those who say they love you and those who say they want everything for you, the minute that you don't eat at the same table as they do, you're not their friend anymore. That's a tough pill to swallow. So I've promised I'd never treat anybody like that on their way out. If you decided to leave tomorrow, Tyrone, I would treat you and your wife with the utmost respect, because you deserve it and you can make the decisions to do whatever you want to do in your life. And that's how Jamie runs his company, Jamie and Leanne. So
Yeah.
and we've had people leave Experior
Interesting.
and come back, right? Because we've
True.
left that door open instead of, chastising you or crucifying you on your way out for nothing, really. It's just trying something different, right?
That's huge. That's
Yeah.
huge. What's some of the biggest things you've learned? Because obviously you've been there for 18 years. You said 40 agents, and then you went to 2,400 in half the time. And you literally started from scratch because you went through all that. Obviously, you
Yeah.
had experience and stuff like that, but like, yeah, you had to start looking elsewhere. What changed, mentally? What did you do different?
Confidence. I think confidence changed because we were able to offer um, an array of products, more products than I've ever seen in my entire career at the other place. Um, the compensation was incredible. So when I was talking to people to bring them over, it wasn't like they were going to come over and be broke, right? Like,
Yeah.
so if you think about it, even some of the agents that followed us over, they were struggling making 18 grand, 25 grand a year. And we're talking full time and trying
Mm,
to work hard
yeah.
with that business model. And then coming over here and now making 250, 300, same person, integrity, same ethics, all that kind of, all the same things, but a different vehicle. And
Mm,
that's what, how people always say, you're in the wrong vehicle.
yeah.
So, I learned how to drive. I learned how to drive the car in the other company, but they were telling me if it was a Ferrari, but it was really a Volkswagen. And then
Okay.
because of what I learned how to drive, I went into a Ferrari, and then it took me there a lot faster because I already knew how to drive that car, right?
True.
I just wasn't in that vehicle at that time, right? Takes you a little bit of time to learn it, but eventually you're going to lap everybody
Yeah.
once you've learned how to figure out how to shift the gears and all that stuff. And that's, yeah, I don't think anything changed except for confidence. And I'm not just speaking for myself, I'm speaking for the people that came with me.
Yeah.
The confidence and not worrying about not having the right products to offer. And
Mm,
the compensation was greatly better so that when you did recruit people over, you were recruiting them over at least to a living
true.
until they figured it out, right? Versus, coming over and maybe suffering for a while, which I won't do that anymore. So
That's huge. Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Now, there's a lot of people that you obviously, when you joined your practice company, you were working a regular job. You were an employee. Same with me, right? I used to work at the bank, and then I got into this industry. But and I realized earlier on, like mentorship, how important that is. But for you, how important is mentorship?
Mentorship is it's not everything, but it's extremely important because when you are feeling um, down and you don't feel motivated, you have to turn to someone who has a vested interest in you
Mm,
and a moral interest in you to help you through those times, right? Like some people go to their church and some people go to their uncles or their aunt or whoever, someone who's been through a little bit more or has a little bit more education experience or whatever it is to kind of guide you through those times so you're not alone. And then when you're left alone to your own device and your own thoughts, it's a ugly place because you're only thinking in the negative. You're never thinking in the positive,
yeah,
especially when there's a lot of turmoil going on around you. So you always need that helping hand, someone to reach down and pull you up, right?
that's huge.
Or vice versa, someone to be behind you and push you up.
Yeah,
So it could go either way, but yeah, mentorship is important. And like I said, finding people they can be just even your side, your coworkers, but you all have each other's back.
you got like a
You know what I
vested
mean? Like,
interest in each other. Yeah,
yeah, you gotta have each other's back, and knowing that someone is always there for you, Tyrone, it
yeah,
feels good, man. It feels good. Like even when you're feeling sucky and like a little baby and all that kind of stuff, in the back of your mind, someone's there for you, or they'll pick up the phone and call you. Hey, where you been, Tyrone? I haven't heard you from you a couple of weeks. What's happening? And then,
it
you
goes a
know,
long way.
yeah, it helps you get out of that hole. So mentorship is everything. But it all starts with you.
Yeah,
You can have the greatest mentors, the greatest leaders. You can have $1 million earners, $10 million earners. You can have guys who have PhDs and all that kind of stuff as your leader, upline, mentor, whatever. But if you don't put in the work and you're not coachable, you're not going to win anyway. So it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
I could have the best baseball uh, coach ever, but if I'm not practicing every day and working on the things to improve my game, I'm never going to make it to the next level. So,
Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Absolutely. Now, how important is mindset in achieving your success? And like what obviously you've been in ups, it's been a roller coaster throughout the years. Obviously, earlier on, you just told me about the court case and all the stuff. What specific mental shifts did you have to take to, along the way to help change that?
Mental shift. I just I just kept, I guess maybe because of where my upbringing, I just kept going. Like, what other choice do I have? Like,
Yeah. Wow.
the mental shift is don't be down for too long. It's okay to be down, but don't be down for too long. You got to keep moving because if you look around you, there's a lot of people with mental health issues and addiction issues and everything. And God bless them, they let something stop them, right?
Yeah.
And they didn't have the right mentorship or whatever. Sometimes it's just physiology, genetics and stuff, so you can't help that. But at the end of the day, I wasn't going to sit there and just, woe is me and say, oh, why isn't things working for me and why don't good things happen to me and why and blah 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 blah. Because I've thought those things many times, Tyrone,
Yeah.
many times. But even though I thought about it, I didn't stay there, right? I didn't
Yeah.
sit there and wallow in my own pity. You just got to keep moving. So, yeah,
Yeah.
mindset is basically consistently moving forward,
Yeah.
even when you don't want to. It's like, and especially when you're, well, with anything, if you're working out,
Yeah.
want to get a six pack, you're not going to stop at six sit-ups, right? You're not, and then go eat a Big Mac, right? You're gonna train, you're gonna eat properly, you're gonna do all those things, and you can't just not do those things and expect those results. You have to continuously do something in order to get the results you want, right?
Yeah.
Always be result oriented too. That's another thing I always say. Don't do things just for the sake of doing them. Do them because you know by doing this, this is eventually going to happen. It may not be right away, but eventually it will happen, whether that be building relationships or learning about a new product or prospecting someone down the road for maybe future business, all that kind of stuff. So it's always doing something with a purpose versus just doing something just for the sake of doing it.
Okay. Wow. That's good. I like that. Consistently moving forward.
Yeah,
Consistency is key in anything you do, really.
100%.
Anything. But yeah,
100%.
that's huge.
Yeah.
Now,
The reason why our business is so lucrative, Tyrone, and why there's so much growth is, like I said at the beginning, there's so much underserved out there. Because we are a nation of immigrants. We are a nation of people coming in all the time.
yeah,
And those who come in don't know the rules to the money game. And those who grew up here because they had to, go to work, go to school, all that stuff, they still didn't learn the rules to the money game. Um, so there's a great opportunity. The masses are there all the time. There's always 100 to 200,000 people coming into Toronto, right?
yeah,
And there's always someone that needs our help, whether it be on the financial side or needs an opportunity to grow in their business mind or in maybe thinking about getting into the business with us, right? So
very true.
yeah.
Yeah. Now, you've been in, like I said, you've been in the industry, you got tons of experience. Looking back, what would you say to your younger self that you'd want to maybe you say, you know what, if you would have done this, I would have got here faster. Maybe you're content with everything you've done, right? What would you tell your younger self?
Do more.
Do more.
Yeah.
And what
Because
do
no
you
matter
mean?
how much I thought I was doing, there was probably a lot more I could have done. And when I say do more, it means do more prospecting, do more training, do more, like, no matter how good you are, you can always be better. Right. So that's definitely one of the things I would have changed is do more of everything, not just one thing, more of everything. Self development, uh, everything, just pretty much everything.
And you were working like what, like 12, 13 hours a
Yeah,
day.
but see, yeah, 12, 13 hours a day, but was I as productive as I could have been? Was I, you
Mm,
know, because at the end of
yeah,
the day, we're all in business for ourselves, right? So we can fool ourselves to think we're working.
yeah,
And most of the time back then, because we had to travel everywhere, there was no Zoom meetings and stuff. Yeah, it took your days were long. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
But how productive were you? I don't know. Maybe I'm positive I could have been a hell of a lot more productive in those 12-hour days. Some days were a lot more productive than others, but I'm sure I could have done more every single day. So, and I
And that's
believe that's true on everything, for anybody, right? Uh,
yeah.
just keep going and do more if you can, and if you can't, it's okay. Do more the next day, but yeah, have that mental toughness, right?
And that's yeah. And you know what? Like there's I've gone through this, especially at my practice company. You have those days where you have a ton of appointments booked, but then there's the days where nothing's going on, and you're just like, well, I have free time. I'm self-employed. Just do
Yeah,
my thing. People don't realize like you got to be constantly doing something, whether it's prospecting, whether you're like you said, gaining that mental gain, like reading something to get sharper in your skill,
yeah.
going through scripts, whatever it is, you constantly got to be doing stuff. And a lot of people don't realize that earlier on, right? A lot of people like learn that on, and they spend years just struggling, right? So
Yeah. Well, I know people that aren't even in our business that built businesses, and they would be at the office at 7 o'clock in the morning when they were young
yeah,
and wouldn't leave till 10 o'clock at night. And fast forward 40, 50 years later, they're in their 60s and 70s. And guess what? They're still, no matter how much success they have, they're still practically the first ones to show up and the last ones to leave because there's just it's
they got that
it's it's
drive.
it's their DNA. It's what
Yeah,
they're consistently doing the same thing. Now, I don't want to do that, right? That's not why I got into the game. But that's how you got to live your life for a while, right? You just got to keep pushing and pushing and pushing until you get to the point where you have a business that runs without you. And that's financial services is one of those vehicles that allows you to do that because of the residual income you can get from the different products that we have, right?
wow, yeah, absolutely. This is
Yeah.
one of the best industries to be in.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Now you just said 2,400 people you got in your hierarchy. You've brought on board tons of people personally. What do you say to that new person checking us out? That's checking us out. They've never done financial services before. What do you say to them that would make them, want to have some interest in joining us?
In joining us, what would I say to them?
Just joining financial services as a
I would
whole.
be, hey, listen, if you ever thought about doing anything different, I can show you how to change your life and make as much money as you possibly want. But it's going to take time and it's going to be hard. Like my son is just joining the business. He's just turned 18.
Wow.
And
Family business.
yeah, it's not gonna be a cakewalk for him. It's not like, walk in, turn the keys, here you go, here's 1,000 clients and go do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
I told him, you're gonna work your butt off
You got to earn your stripes.
you gotta work, right? So anything that's worth anything, Tyrone, needs work and effort put into it. The younger generation, unfortunately, and it's not their fault, it's not because they're lazy or anything. It's because the world moves a lot faster today and things are done so quickly. You think about it, I can get an answer to a question you give me in zero point 0.2 seconds just by talking into my phone. Whereas before I had to go to the library, go find that book, go find what chapter it was in, go look. It took a little bit more work. So we knew what it was to do that kind of work. And so we knew results came, but it came with a lot of work put into it first.
Okay.
And the younger generation, they want things fast. They want,
Yeah.
I want to make 100,000. Yeah, everyone wants to make 100,000 or 200,000 or $1 million a year, but they
Yeah.
want it to happen within the next 2 or 3 years.
It's that
Does
microwave
it
society.
happen? I'm
Yeah.
sure it does. I'm sure there's some TikTok phenomenons and Instagrammy things and all that kind of stuff you young guys do to make money fast. But in business, it's a long-term thing, man. And sometimes the results won't come as
Yeah.
fast as you want. And that's the toughest part is staying focused, positive, and motivated when you're not getting the results that you want or think you should have at that time. Just have faith, be coachable, and move forward, and just keep believing in yourself, number one, but believing in the opportunity is going to get you there because so many people have gone before you and have proven it. And that's the other thing too, right? If I sat down and said to you, Tyrone, you need a master's in mathematics, you need a CFP designation, you need all this stuff to come to get to where I'm at. you'd say thank you and thank you again for nothing because there's no way in hell I'm doing what you're doing, right? You'd run out the
Yeah,
door. But if I said to you,
absolutely.
hey, Tyrone, I didn't have any university education. I worked in regular jobs in construction and busboy and waiter and paint store and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't have success examples or business owners around me. But I plugged into this, and in this time, this is what my business has been able to grow to. And do you want the same opportunity? Now you're going to say, yeah, you know what? Yeah. Don't pretend to be something you're not. You're still just a regular person,
Yeah,
right? And that's it. It's just the want and the drive, right? And I honestly think I don't even like the 27 years I've been in the industry. I don't believe gives this opportunity with Experior the credit it deserves. Okay. Because my 27 years, you got to remember, 18, 19 of that was with another company. I
yeah.
learned how to sell, I learned how to do all that kind of stuff. But all of my success, and I mean, I'll say 95% of my success and growth has happened in the last 9 years.
Wow.
Right. So anyone listening on here says, well, yeah, sure, you've been doing it for 27 years. This is not, no, 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 no. Yeah, when I came over after 18 years, I was only making 130 grand a year with it when I came over to Experior. And you fast forward and now we're into seven figures. That's huge. That's a big difference, man.
Literally
You
just
know,
10x in less than
and that
10
was
years.
in 9 years. Same guy,
Yeah.
same industry, different vehicle, right? So again, so
It's a
from
big
now on, I don't think I'd introduce myself as the Godfather of 27 years. I'm going to say I'm the grandson of of only 9 years. Maybe that's what I should
the grandson. All right.
do.
I love it. I love it. Well, I got two more questions for you.
Yeah, man.
Two more questions. We kind of talked a little bit about this just before we got on live, but how important is faith to you in life and business and everything? How important is faith?
Yeah, well, I think faith is important. Um, and I'm not talking about certain religions or anything, but you have to you have to know that when you're doing something, it's not just about you. So, and that faith can be in humanity, that faith can be in church or religion or yourself. But you have to have a drive that's bigger than you. Okay, let's just put it that way. And some
Mm.
people that's a God, and some people that's I don't know what it is, but and I'm sorry, Tyrone. I'm not just gonna. My faith is my personal thing. Um, I do have faith. So if the answer is, do I have faith? Yes. How do you balance it? Well, you try and be the best person you can be, the best individual you can be. Treat people with the intentions of being treated the way they want to be treated. All right. And I think good things will happen to you if you put it out there, right? Um, so again, I think everyone should live their life based on doing good for others, and not being selfish all the time. It's okay to be selfish sometimes, right?
Yeah.
But not hurting people in that process, right? So I don't know if I answered your question.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. That was spot on.
yeah.
That was
So
spot
yeah,
on.
definitely, if you don't live your life with integrity, honesty, then forget it. There's no chance of you succeeding in anything in life, and that's in marriage, uh, parenting, friendship, and business.
Yeah.
The bottom line, I think.
Yeah. And I've learned over the years, especially just talking to you, like how integrous you are as a person. And I've seen how that's obviously, it shows in your business. Like there's a harvest that comes from that when you put in, when you're good to others, it comes back to you. Right.
I believe in that 100%, Tyrone.
Yeah. And I've seen that just like through your business personally. So that's huge.
Yeah, yeah. And I
Yeah.
see it in your business. You're a good person. You're a God-fearing person, and your family and all that stuff. And your background too, and where you came from, and growing, just not too many years ago with gunshots in the backyard of your house, right? Which caused you to go and uproot your family, but you've changed your life too, right? And that's because of faith. And that's because you treated people around you always, you didn't blame everyone around you, right? You took responsibility for your life and you treated people around you like they deserve to be treated. And and then you're starting to reap the rewards for that. So I believe what goes around comes around. Um, I know there's a lot of people that say that there's a lot of wealthy people out there that are bad. But you know what? I believe that money makes a good person better and a bad person worse. There's so much good
That's a
things
good point.
that wealthy people do that you don't see.
Yeah,
There's a lot of good things, you know, donations in private, supporting hospitals, doing whatever it may be. Just because you don't see it because they're driving a Ferrari doesn't mean it's not being done. And
so true.
that's yeah. So it's all how you look at things. It's all on your perspective of things, right?
Money makes a good person better and a bad person worse. That's a
Yeah,
big
100%.
statement. I
It
love that.
magnifies your personality.
Yeah, so that's good.
Yeah,
That's a big line right there.
yeah, for
So
sure.
now I've been in this business 8 years now in total. And this year, 2025, I said, you know what? Like we're leveling up this year. This is why I wanted to do these lives with, yourself, Frank, Jamie, and really just take my business to the next level. What advice do you have for me? And you being, one of my mentors within the industry, what do you want to see from me in the next 12 to 18 months as a contribution to, to the team, to the business?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I don't want you to ever think that had to have to be a contribution to the team or the business. Like I said, you have responsibility to yourself. The way you carry yourself and your integrity will reflect on the business. So
Yeah,
don't ever do anything thinking how I can better, right, serve the company or me as your mentor or upline. Uh, think about how you can serve yourself and the people in your business, right?
mm,
Meaning your clients and the people, your agents that have trusted you to mentor them. And the more you give to them, the more they're going to be faithful to you and loyal to you. But at the same time, just keep doing what you're doing, Tyrone. I see all the social media posting. I see the production you're doing. Like you don't stop. You're being very consistent. And honestly, if you continue to be consistent, the rewards will come. They may not come as fast, and you're gonna have some pitfalls too. I hate to tell you.
yeah,
Everything can look like sunshine and roses today, but next week it could be black roses and darkness. But as long as you just keep pushing forward, and use the people who have gone before you to help you come out of that hole, then you just keep moving forward. But like I honestly see you becoming a $500,000 earner, a senior executive director or national executive director in the next 3 years for sure. Um, if you don't, then that's okay. Okay. I never want anyone to think that just because you don't hit certain milestones in a certain time that you failed. As long as you're in a better place than you are today, Tyrone, you're
yeah.
successful, my friend. It doesn't matter where it could be $50,000 more, it could be 50 agents more. You still did more than where you are today. So you need to applaud that. But know that you're capable of doing a hell of a lot, right? Like the
Man,
question you asked me, what
that
I would have changed is do more. Just so
more.
if you think you're tired, like you're at the office right now and it's quarter to eight, if and you're saying, okay, I've done a great job today. I've worked today. I've helped clients. I've done some training and I've did the Facebook Live. I'm tired. I'm gonna go eat and see my babies at home because I miss them. Maybe there's one or two more calls you can make or on your way home. Maybe there's one or two more calls. You see, I'm saying that just that little extra, right? The difference between someone who's winning and someone who's not is like this much, right? It's so small. It's like
Wow.
even in basketball, even in sports, right?
Yeah.
It's that person who stayed a little bit longer and practiced a little bit more. They didn't do that much more different, right? They just did it a little bit more. You know,
It's that
Kobe.
compounding growth.
Exactly, like Kobe and all those
Jordan.
professionals,
Yeah.
Tiger Woods, they stayed longer, right?
Yep.
Michael Jordan, like
Yeah.
the game would be over and everyone would be gone. He'd still be shooting three pointers, right? He'd be practicing and that's like us too, right? That's Frank and I and Laval when we were going up in the business. If we didn't have appointments, we were practicing, drilling, and rehearsing, and that means the scripts. We were back and forth, just giving objections to each other and learning that way, and we've mastered that, right? So there's always more you can do. But my friend, I think that you're going to be wealthier than you could ever think, not just in money, but in heart and soul. And I wish you all the greatness in the world because you deserve it, man. And yeah, always look forward. Don't ever look down. Just look forward, man.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And you know what? I'm definitely shooting for that goal that you mentioned. That's definitely the next goal. You know, 500,000, and like definitely increase the agents. The team got to get this opportunity out to as many people as possible, right?
Yeah,
So
man. And I
yeah,
know you can do it, brother.
absolutely,
No doubt.
absolutely. This was awesome, brother. This was awesome. I appreciate
Thank you.
everything you said, man.
Well,
And
I appreciate you asking me to come on. I really do.
oh man, it was my pleasure. I had to, so it's yeah, and this is gonna be a big year. It's gonna be a big year for all of us. You're already killing it, so we're just following suit. But
Hey,
this is
just to let you know, I don't know if you know, but we had our ELC call, and today we went over 9,000 agents licensed as a company. Last year in February, we were at 4,000. We doubled to 8,000
more than
in
double.
1 year. And then we increased by almost another 1,000 within a few weeks. So I don't
So
know what the heck is going on, brother, but this thing is going to the moon and nothing's stopping us.
I mean, like, shoot, we'll be over 20 this time
Oh
next
yeah,
year.
by the end of the year, the goal is to be at 20, 25,000 for sure.
Yeah, the way that it's moving, definitely
Yeah,
gonna happen.
yeah. So
Def-
2 or 3,000 of those can be yours, man.
I'll claim those. I
Yeah,
take them.
right.
Let's go. I
Right on.
claim it. All right, brother. Well, I appreciate you, man. This has been an
Well,
honor.
me too. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Give my
sir.
best to
So
the family, okay?
you too, man. We'll talk
All right.
soon, brother.